Hi, this is Les Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. In all deference to Carman and Anthony Lima, I have a theory. When the Cleveland baseball team got rid of Chief Wahoo, people said, well, that's good, they'll lose some money now. No, it wouldn't. People would still restock their dressers and their closets with all the new stuff. Same thing goes with a new nickname. But here's the real theory. The Cavaliers have had Goodyear on their jerseys for a couple of years and it hasn't bothered anybody. Sports teams have been aiming for this for a long time. Get rid of all the nicknames. Make it the Wild Wild West. I wonder if the Cleveland Progressive Insurance Team would be able to keep Francisco Lindor from becoming a member of the Miami Disney World team. Ken Carman is here. I've got a theory. More Sports and Les Levine is on the air. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les Levine, it's a Monday night. It's a brand new week. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les Levine into its 24th, soon to be 25th consecutive year, seen exclusively powered by cleveland.com. Ken Carman is here from 92.3 The Fan, and he, of course, teams up with Anthony Lima. Hello there, Kenneth.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Les, I wanted you to see this because this is the only time I wore this into the liquor store on Friday, and I was talking to the owner, and he looked at me and he said, you know, if you would have worn this into this store about a year ago, I'd have had a TAC 14 in your nose, but now it's perfectly okay, so away you go. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. How are you? I apologize last time you were here. I picked the first day in 50 years to have a sick day, and I apologize, and I'm going to make it up for you. I'm going to try to be real good with you tonight.
Oh, Dave did a wonderful job. He's not you. No one can replace you, but Dave did a wonderful job.
All right. Well, let's start. The Indians looking for a new name. Did that surprise you at all? Because we knew Washington's football team was in the crosshairs, and the Indians sort of brought it up by themselves. You didn't hear the Atlanta Braves or the Kansas City Chiefs, but the Indians came out of nowhere, I think.
Yeah, I wondered if it was something. You know, there's a couple things that I think you would probably know better than me. So there's maybe a couple of things I kind of want to run by you when I say this. One, where we knew that John Sherman was kind of in line to buy the team at some point. I wonder if Paul Dolan, who, you know, I've given him a lot of hell over the last couple of years, and some of it deserved, some of it not. And I'll be honest with you, but I've always couched it with, it's the best run franchise in the city. He's the most level-headed owner we have. He's done a fantastic job, and if it weren't for a rain delay, he'd have a World Series title. They've done a great job there. I wondered if they were thinking about maybe selling to John Sherman at some point, the majority ownership, and then letting him deal with it. Because I think that Paul Dolan doesn't want to be disliked in the city. I think that a couple times, and you know him better than I do, you've hosted things with him in the past where I know that he's kind of stuck his foot in his mouth over the last 12 months when it comes to Francisco Lindor, but I know that he's a reasonable person and a pretty good owner. And I wonder if he was just like, you know, I've done enough where the logo upsets some people. Now the name's there. Maybe Sherman can buy the team, and then that's it. And then he goes and he buys the Royals, where he's from Kansas City, so that's okay. So I wonder if that was one of the things. The other one was maybe it's time. And maybe there's some sponsorship issues that we don't necessarily know about. Because we found out about Nike, we found out about FedEx. Maybe there's some sponsorship issues that we don't necessarily know about that might affect the Cleveland Indians in this case that maybe we'll find out in the future, but I'm torn. You know, Les, I know that you've watched Indians baseball a lot more than me. But I always say the first game I ever went to, I was 5 years old. My uncle and my dad took me up, and the first thing I saw over at the stadium was the great big Chief Wahoo. And I'm an Indians fan, but at the same time, I remember the first game my dad ever took me to. Am I not going to take my son over the name? If my son, who turned 6 next year, wants to go to a Cleveland Guardians game or a Cleveland Spiders game, and I can't stand the Spiders nickname, but I'll learn to like it. If he wants to go to a game, am I really going to stick my heels in and say no? I heard you're open, and I don't think that I can. I think that a guy who's 34 years old like myself is going to go, yeah, it's the way she goes. And even though I wasn't personally offended, I know that many people were, because it's not about me, it's about other people.
No, but Ken,
And the world is certainly much bigger than me.
No,
Go ahead.
Who do you think they're trying to please with this? It's not like you go out west and you see, and anything I say here or anything anybody says is going to come out wrong to some people, but there are Indian tribes out there, and Andy Baskin will tell you about it, that they gladly wear the emblem, the hat, all that stuff. And so what are you trying to please? 12% of the Indian population? You're trying to please 100% because you're not. The Indian reservation casinos out west loaded with hats and shirts and all that stuff. And I'm not trying to, you got to be careful when you say this. I don't know of anybody who looks at the Indians when it was Chief Wahoo or when it's what it is or the name Indians. I can't think of anybody who looks at that in any way, shape, or form other than honoring it.
Well, I would say I think you're right about that, but I would also look at it and go, it's not that they're trying to appease a certain group of people. I think they're just they're a professional sports franchise. They do have sponsors that they have to deal with, and I think that they're ultimately in a lot of ways thinking we don't want to upset anybody. Yeah. We want your entertainment money. We want you to come to the stadium, and honestly, I mean, if I start to argue for the Indians' name, where does it get to? Where do I get to? Do I want to do those mental gymnastics? I don't know if I don't know if I really want to do that. So it's definitely a touchy thing. And when you heard Terry Francona yesterday about it, you could hear it, like he beat around the bush for a while when he talked about this. And then it all came to, yeah, maybe it's time. Maybe we can find something else. And, maybe we will find something else. But I ultimately know that I will miss the tradition of the Indians and what I've grown up with. I mean, they've been there my entire life. They've been there your entire life. But am I not going to watch baseball in Cleveland?
No, of course you're
I'm going to watch baseball in Cleveland. I'm going to take my sons to baseball in Cleveland.
So we had a Facebook question of the day. Do you think it's time to rename the Indians? Chris Ard says no. Andy Mees says no because it would I would have to invest money in some new jerseys. I've Indians shirts and jerseys still in good condition. I still wear Chief Wahoo caps too. Then Kevin Pyle says, no, leave the name alone. The name doesn't dishonor anybody. It acknowledges Native Americans and Nap Lajoie, the player, the Indians, the name that was derived from the Indians. By the way, that's not true. It's Chief Louis Sockalexis, not Nap Lajoie. Besides, whatever happened to sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. No, I think that theory is gone. Yes, it's time for a change, says Aaron Wood. Glenn Berger says, no political correctness in running wild in our society. When will somebody stand up and proclaim enough already? Dolan, Antonetti, and Francona are stewards of the Indians franchise. The regular Indians fans don't live in the same world the Indians management exists. I won't agree with the name change, but life goes on. Without the Indians' name, tomorrow will not be as bright as yesterday was. I don't know if it's that deep, but
well,
let me just say something. Go ahead.
No. Well, I think when I read what Andy says, I think Andy's right in a lot of ways. And what I see what Glenn says basically the same thing I say. It's like, yeah, I don't want to see the name necessarily change. I don't think that Paul Dolan's a bad guy, and I don't think that anybody who is in the front office with the Indians are bad people and want to be racist or put down any other race of any sort of people whatsoever. But times change. Glenn's going to still be an Indians fan. I'm going to be an Indians fan, and the argument against political correctness, I think that's a losing argument in a lot of ways now. I think that the time to fight the quote unquote fighting political correctness, I think that's a bygone era. That's a bygone day, and it's a pro sports franchise.
Yeah,
I don't think they're in the business of upsetting people.
You mentioned Paul Dolan before, and he, as you correctly said, he got caught a couple of times talking about Lindor in words that didn't come out right. On the other hand, I think Cleveland Indian baseball fans or Cleveland baseball fans, it's going to take me a while to get used to that, by the way. Baseball fans here should be grateful for what they have. You know, you better be happy with what you have, because when you lose it, you may lose more than you expect.
Exactly. I brought this up. Listen, I know that Jimmy Haslam wants to win, but I brought this up with the Browns years ago, and it's one of the worst nights I've ever had on the air when I was doing the night show, because I said, listen, I know everybody doesn't like the Lerners, doesn't like Randy Lerner, but you got to be careful what you wish for. And I think that they might have learned a lesson there, because I know he wants to win. I don't know if he knows how to win. With the Indians, I have had good ownership. I've had ownership good enough where other organizations and Major League Baseball themselves wants to take advantage of the people who have worked for this organization. I think that says something for what Paul Dolan has done with the Cleveland Indians. I know that this time is rapidly coming to an end. It seems to be that there's writing on the wall that Paul Dolan wants to sell the team. It's his right to sell the team. I'm nervous about the next owner who owns the baseball team. I know that above all, while there's times where I disagree with Paul Dolan, I want to see the books. I'm angry at times about the Indians, and at times they play well enough to make me really angry with the Indians. I know that he loves this team, he does love the city, and he wants to keep this team in Cleveland. I can't guarantee that with any other owner. I can't guarantee that with any other owner, with any sort of an agreement with anybody who wants to work with the Cleveland Indians in the future, and that makes me very nervous. So there's times where, yes, I'm absolutely 100% critical of Paul Dolan and the Indians, but I also think that I have to look at this and say, has he done a good job? I think he has done a good job. Again, I think that he's a rain delay away from being beloved in this city, and that's, to some people, they don't want to hear that, but that's, to me, the God's honest truth.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. Ken Carman is with us. You can email us during the show at the number, which of course is reallesslevine@gmail.com. Did you know the Ohio Lottery has paid out over $1 billion in winnings over the past 6 months? People are winning in record numbers. Winning is happening all around the state of Ohio. Play an Ohio Lottery game and play it today. We'll come back in a moment. We'll check out the birthdays, talk about David Njoku, and anything else that you want to talk about. More sports and Les Levine exclusively on cleveland.com.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art BetAmerica kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions, or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Do you like Ohio State football? Would you like to get information from me, Doug Lesmerises, about Ohio State football without having to look at my face? We have got the plan for you. Become an Ohio State text subscriber through cleveland.com. You send a text, 614-350-3315. What do you get? 2, 3, 4 texts right in your phone every day about Ohio State football. Inside information, polls, voting, all kinds of things. You can be on our podcast. We take text subscriber questions on our Buckeye Talk podcast every week. If you really want to be involved with Ohio State football, in season or out of season, become an Ohio State text subscriber from cleveland.com. Send a text to 614-350-3315. 14-day free trial. What do you have to lose? $3.99 a month after that. 614-350-3315. I'll see you in your phone.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had 2 choices. I was accepted into a 4-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery, partners in education, where stars shine.
Let's check out birthdays today. In honor of Ken Carman, we changed the spelling and went over to Carman, Ohio, for 1947. Paul Gasol, born on this date. Adrian Claiborne, Manny Machado, Corey Coleman, and there you see him from New Orleans, Zion Williamson. Do you have any concerns, or do you care if the NBA continues and does whatever they do the rest of this year?
I thought you were going to ask me if I had any concerns about Corey Coleman. Yes, I have many. No, I care if the NBA comes back. I'd like to see them finish, especially because of the salary cap. And I want to see some live sports. So, yeah, I think they can make it work. I think it's going to be a little bit,
Yeah. Do you think, looking down the road, do you think the NBA finishes the season concluding with a playoff champion?
Yes, I do. I'm not terribly confident about that, but I do, and I think if they do, I think it means great things for other sports. But I'm nervous to say anything like that. You know, I know that we're looking at this, and a lot of people, they are led down the river on a couple of different things. I've always said, listen, I'm not a doctor. I've seen different things. I just don't think we have a total handle on things yet. You know, you look at other infectious diseases, we can talk about them with confidence because they've been around for 50, 60, 70 years that we've known of. With this has been around from what we know, March of 2019, from what a couple of people say, from what a couple of epidemiologists say. That's not a very long period of time. So for me to sit there and
the rules seem to change every day.
Yeah, for me to spout opinions, and it's difficult, Les, because we look to the news and the WHO and the CDC say different things almost every single day, and then in turn we lose confidence. We say, well, I'm going to live my life and I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And it's going, well, it's science. If I find something new that I didn't know yesterday, I'm not trying to look like a liar. I just didn't know yesterday.
Yeah.
Now I know today, and here's what you can find out today. So the next couple of months are going to be very interesting about this, not just with professional sports, but with society as well. I hope that they can find some sort of a vaccine. An argument about a vaccine is for something that really is on a station that I don't want to talk about and argue about, but it's going to be a tight thing that a lot of people are going to be. I think that this conversation is going to change, especially with sports, but in real life here over the next couple of weeks.
How you doing? How you doing with the kids on this?
I'm doing well. I have been in the station today. Lima is back at home. He'll be home for at least the rest of this week. We'll see what he does next week. As far as myself, I enjoy going back to the station, so today was a very welcome thing. With the boys, you know, I'm usually home around noon anyway, so it's weird to go right back upstairs at 10 o'clock and see them. But ultimately, I think my life's a little bit different anyway, just because I start the day earlier and I end the day earlier than most people. So there's a lot of times where I can't really share that same type of experience with other people.
Right. All right, so let's get to football here for a minute. David Njoku apparently wants out. When it gets to this point, Ken, where it's the agent doing the talking and going public with it, the negotiations start on the outside now, and that's basically what's happening here. Apparently this has been going on for a while, and the agent said, I got to get some action here. I got to go public with it. I assume that's what's happening.
Yeah, that might be what's happening, but if it were up to me, I'm not sending David Njoku anywhere.
No.
Especially with this type of season. Kevin Stefanski needs all the help he can get. I think there is going to be a football season, at least an NFL season. I think there's going to be a full 16 games. Some way, somehow, they're going to make this thing work, especially, and you brought up the NBA, and I'm glad you brought this up. You brought the NBA, you brought up Major League Baseball. If they're able to finish some sort of a season, the NFL, that's all systems go. The NFL, in comparison to the other two, and no offense to the NHL hockey, I get that. But in the other two major sports that we talk about, they are a giant television show because they have CBS, they have Fox, they have ESPN. Everything's a national broadcast to them. So with them, I'm not as worried about the NFL as I am about Major League Baseball, as I am about basketball and so on and so forth. because they don't really have a whole lot of regional television contracts. They can end those through preseason and things like that. I think there's going to be a 16-game schedule, and I need to help out Kevin Stefanski any way I possibly can, because I don't know how much of a regular season it's going to be. I think there's going to be a full regular season. I don't know how much of a preseason there's going to be, and there certainly hasn't been much of a camp or any time that these guys can get together.
Yeah. All right, ESPN's Jeremy Fowler reports that Njoku might be worth a 4th or a 5th round pick. Is that worth all this, whatever's going on?
No. At this time, it's going, get on the field, because I look at David, no offense to Stephen Carlson, Les. I look at David Njoku, I look at Stephen Carlson. One looks like a Greek god, the other one looks like Stephen Carlson. I look at David Njoku and I say, you should be better than what you are right now. You're going to be healthy going into this year. Go be better than what you are right now. Prove to everybody that you're worth money. Prove to everybody you're worth opportunity. And then maybe we can talk turkey. There is a difference in the NFL between angry with the front office and angry with the ownership and angry with your teammates. David Njoku has a good rapport with his teammates. His teammates like David. So I think there's a huge difference, and if you bring him in and you play the season with him, I think he'll be perfectly fine. I don't think that he's going to make a mess. I don't think that he's going to be nasty about things, as long as he shows up. If he doesn't show up, then we have a different conversation.
If it's a third,
if he shows up, I think.
If it's a 3rd or 4th round pick, what's the big deal about it? Those guys, nothing personal. Those guys are certainly replaceable.
Yeah, and for David was a 1st round pick, and I would want. If he were to go out and play very well this year, maybe there's a conversation about trading David. But I think it would behoove him to still show up, play well as best he could under these given circumstances. And if he were to have a breakout year, then I think you go back to the table with the Cleveland Browns, or you go to another football team and you talk about something like that. Because for David, this is where the Browns mixture has been a little bit mixed up, because Andrew Berry was part of an organization that took David Njoku in the 1st round and traded ahead of Pittsburgh to take David Njoku in the 1st round. We've been told many times that Pittsburgh wanted him. They took him. And so Andrew wants him to work out. And I think the rest of the Browns want him to work out. So there's a lot of things where I understand about opportunity, the future for money. I get totally what David Njoku's talking about and what Drew Rosenhaus is talking about. But I'd still rather keep David and see if we can work things out here.
There's also not a lot of teams that are going to go top heavy on tight ends, I wouldn't think. I don't know how many opportunities he'd have out there.
Well, it depends on if he's able to play well. He'll be the 2nd option behind Austin Hooper this year. If he's able to play well, we'll see what ends up happening with I can see him, and I can't. For whatever reason, I'm having a total blank on his name. The kid from San Francisco, George Kittle. The kid from San Francisco, George Kittle. If something happens with his contract, and that's a little bit murky, George has talked about a couple of different things. If he sets the market, then maybe we talk a little bit differently with David Njoku. But David still needs to go out there and perform. And the thing with David is he needs to go out there and perform not just with the Browns or any team he'd be traded to. Because right now, he's looking closer to a bust than he is about being a usable, serviceable NFL tight end.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. Ken Carman, you hear him on 92.3 The Fan from 6 until 10, Monday through Friday. And also nationally, does a phenomenal job on CBS Radio. You really do. I'm not blowing smoke. Does a terrific job.
Thank you.
East, West, and South, that's where you're going to find Northeast Factory Direct, in addition to the great website, northeastfactorydirect.com. West 140th Street, also Lakeland Boulevard in Euclid, and Freeway Drive, that, of course, in Macedonia. We'll come back in a moment with Ken Carman. More sports and less. Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Celebrate Naturestone's 30-year anniversary with a free Naturestone floor. During 2020, we will be giving away 30 free floors to 30 very lucky customers to say thank you for making Naturestone the best concrete flooring solution for garages, basements, and more. Call or visit naturestone.com today to register to win, and we'll send you a copy of our new buyer's guide absolutely free. There's no purchase necessary. Winners will be chosen monthly. With over 30 million square feet installed for more than 60,000 customers, it's easy to see why I always say it's not just a floor. Wow, it's Naturestone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Time for a How Come Quickie. How come if Cleveland's baseball team is called the Spiders, they will have a great website? I think that's a top 10er maybe. It'll go up a little bit if that becomes the name. We'll see. 216-575-0403. Ken Carman, you're exasperated?
Did you use the Portage Lakes one?
No.
You didn't use the Portage Lakes one, Les?
No. Help me out.
Oh, okay. Okay, my How Come Quickie.
Yep.
And I told Brian, I texted Brian about this. I had a How Come Quickie. How come the Portage Lakes are in Summit County? I shared this with Dave Bacon the last time I was with you.
I thought you had a new one. Yeah, you did have it last time. That was terrific.
Okay. I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's like the home run porch at Progressive Field is actually in foul territory. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Ken Carman of 92.3 The Fan is with us. Ken, you do this 4 hours a day talking sports when there's no sports. How are you doing that?
Not hard. I thought it would be much harder. It's not hard. You end up talking about life. You end up talking about what you're doing because this is unprecedented times. But you end up talking about what you're doing. And I mean, honestly, I look at this and I go, okay, I'll be long dead the next time this happens again, right?
Wow.
Like there's no way this happens again in my career. Am I wrong? Well, I hope I'm right. I hope I'm right. I think everybody hopes I'm right, but so I go, okay.
I hear people say, have you ever seen anything like this? No, there's never been anything like this. No.
Well, Les, honestly, if I'm able to do this, I've been doing it technically, in radio, 11 years overall. Say I do this 25 years. Say I get 14 more years in the sun, which would be a blessing. In the grand scheme of things, if this is even 6 months, is that a huge amount of time? Is this a huge amount of time? Will this make me better? I say yes. Will this make the rest of us better? I say yes. So ultimately, it's about not just can you talk sports, can you talk about life? Can you be relatable in life? So it's been a bit of a challenge, but overall, I've enjoyed it.
All right, let's take a look at some free agency situations here with the Cleveland Browns. You got some names out there, Ken. Jadeveon Clowney, Everson Griffin, Clay Matthews, somebody else, any one free agent you'd go after at this point?
I like Everson Griffin. I know that he's a little bit long in the tooth, but I think I like him. With Jadeveon, anything over a year I get nervous about. He started to play well during the latter half of what he did in Houston because maybe he was looking for a contract. He played through an injury last year. I know that we're looking at Olivier Vernon in a lot of ways, and I know there's such a thing as rollover cap and a couple other things that are still a little bit bigger than what I can think about. But if I'm looking at help this year, there's only so many guys I can pay. We talk about the possibilities of Jamal Adams in a trade and a couple other players. Right now, you have a talented football team. There's guys that you want to pay on your offense alone. People want to pay, even though I don't think it can happen. People want to pay Jarvis and Odell. They want. I think this either way. I think this could be the last year of Odell here. They want to pay Jarvis and Odell. They want to pay Nick Chubb. They want to pay offensive linemen. They want to pay Baker. Okay, well, how many more guys can you pay?
Well,
can I pay
if you're in that position where you have to choose, that means you've had a good year.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be great. But that's what's made me frustrated with this team, because if you go down the line, That's 5 guys I can name right there that you could legitimately make an argument to say that guy is a long-term contract guy. That's why 6 and 10 was completely unacceptable last year, and what Baker did last year was completely unacceptable. But if I were to go out and get a Jamal Adams, which I don't think they can get, or they go out and they get Griffin's old enough where I think it makes sense. That's why I like him so much. But Jadeveon Clowney, what do I do about Miles? They're already talking to Miles about maybe $20-25 million a year for a defensive end. And some people call him, by the way, Les, I talked to some coaches in college who watch him. There's guys who call him a one-trick pony. He wakes up out of bed and he's able to get 10 sacks in a season. So for a one-trick pony, quote unquote, he's able to wake up and get 10 sacks in a season. That's how good he is. So there's guys that I want to pay. I can't afford everybody. I don't know how much more that they can give to Clowney or Adams or anybody else out there.
All right, I can't put my finger on this, but something doesn't seem right with Clowney. Whether it's the fact that he started asking for 21 million, came down, then said he didn't want Cleveland, but Cleveland's still in the hunt. There's just something missing there, and I don't know what it is.
I think it's a little bit of both. I think that when I say both, one, he wants more security, he wants more years. I don't think he wants to move around a lot. The other thing is I think that this is tough for me to admit, but I think this is something that we have to admit. This is going to get me nasty emails, but guys have still looked in the NFL over the last 20 years, 15 years, because it wasn't this way in 99. This is a place where careers go to end. This is a place where a lot of guys get their final contracts and that's it. I mean, you look at some of the contracts that they've signed in free agency. How many of those guys went and played somewhere else? I mean, of the free agents they've signed, we've had plenty of guys we've drafted and they went to better organizations and they've done better things with those organizations. But of the guys we've signed in free agency, Les, how many of those guys have went on to exceptional careers somewhere else?
Nobody that I can think of.
Ben Tate, done. Paul Kruger, done. Dwayne Bowe, Kenny Britt.
Wow. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely right. All right.
I think he's nervous about it.
The Bleacher Report has their thoughts on Everson Griffen. Former Minnesota Vikings defensive end Everson Griffen is a perfect target should the Browns go this route. He's a productive pass rusher, even at 32, and he'd be a familiar face with the Cleveland coaching staff. New Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski began his NFL coaching career as an assistant with the Vikings in 2006 and remained on their staff for the entirety of Griffin's career. New defensive coordinator Joe Woods coached the defensive backs in Minnesota for the first 4 years of Griffin's tenure. Both should be somewhat familiar with what Griffen brings to the table. You know, I don't always agree with a new coach coming in and just bringing in his old guys, but it seems like this is one you'd want to do that.
Griffin's been a proud guy. I know that there's been a bit of an imbalance there, here and there, but that's something I can sympathize with and we can work with. At 32 years old, I think that he wants another year in the sun. I think that he would work very well with Kevin Stefanski. And again, I could do a year-by-year thing. So if he doesn't work out this year, hey, I can still hold on to Olivier Vernon. And if he doesn't work out this year, no big deal. But if Jadeveon Clowney doesn't work out this year, then I might be on the hook for some more money elsewhere. I think that's a big, big problem of what I'm trying to do here with this season. So I get worried about Jadeveon Clowney. I just have less worry with Everson Griffen. I think he's in good shape for that age. I think that he'd come in and I think he would immediately pay dividends.
Yeah, I agree with you. No question about it. You can explore your interests and find a program that puts you on the path to a bright future. Tri-C offers more than 1,000 courses and over 140 career and technical programs. Go to tri-edu for more information about Tri-C, Cuyahoga Community College. Mike Masetta from Nature Stone will join us. We're going to go talk what Mike is thinking. We'll find that out. We'll take a break and come on back in a moment. Ken Carman with us. More sports and less Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had two choices. I was accepted into a 4-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
Well, hello, everyone. Let me tell you a little bit about Browns Football Insider. For only $3.99 a month, You can get texts sent right to your phone each day from me, Dan Lobby, Scott Pasco, and Ellis Williams. In addition to that, you'll receive a Football Insider newsletter every day with special things from us, things that you won't see anywhere else on the site. You'll get breaking news, analysis, features, film breakdown, and things like that. Texting us directly gives you a great chance to cut through the clutter of Facebook, Twitter, other social media, and avoid the trolls. Also, it's the only way to get your questions on the Orange and Brown Talk podcast. So why should you sign up? Try a 14-day free trial. You can cancel at any time. All it takes is one text, but you won't want to cancel. We have hundreds of subscribers join us over the last year. They love it and have stayed with us. We're seeing the Football Insider community grow every week, and it's only $3.99 a month, which is less than 14 cents a day. What I like most about Football Insider is the opportunity to connect with you one-on-one and really communicate with you. So how can you become a Football Insider? You can click on cleveland.com/Browns, the blue banner at the top of the page. Or easier yet, text me at 216-208-3965. Again, that's 216-208-3965.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
here, let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant, whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at smiley1.com.
All right, on this date in history, July 6, 1933, first baseball all-star game. Babe Ruth homered in a 4-2 American League win over the Chicago White Sox at Chicago, or over the at Comiskey Park in Chicago. Of course, it was the American League versus the National League, and thank goodness somebody, Arch Ward of the Chicago Tribune, came up with that. That's still one of the great classic moments of our sports calendar. The Indians and Major League Baseball can about to reveal their entire schedule. You have any? Take a guess who you think they're going to start with. Take a wild guess.
Should I give it away? Actually, I already saw it on the.
Okay, it's Kansas City Royals. That's on the 24th, which is what, a Monday? 2 weeks from today.
We're coming for you, John Sherman. We're coming for you. You think you can steal our state secrets? Not happening. We're coming for you. We're coming to Kansas City. We're coming to Minnesota. We're coming to Chicago. Yeah, all that stuff. Yeah, sorry.
How surprised were you when it came out that we all knew Sherman was involved in helping as a minority owner, but
yeah,
apparently there was more to it than that. Did that surprise you, or did you know that was happening?
Oh, I had no idea. Anthony had a huge idea, and Anthony's like, "Yeah, I knew there was something going on there," and so I was surprised with that. You play the real quick. You play the Royals. I have to one-eye it because of my contact. I'm sorry. Royals, White Sox at home. They still find a way. They still find a way to do that weird Twins or that weird Red series, where they play 2-2.
It's ridiculous. If you're going to have it, if you're going to have it, do it the right way and go home and home. Go 3-game series, 4-game, whatever.
Yeah, do 6 games. Who cares? Whatever. Honestly, they need to go back to I forget their names, and you would know better than me. They need to go back to the husband and wife tandem that used to do it up until the early 2000s. It just makes more sense. The people who do the scheduling, I mean, does everything.
Listen,
I just don't get the 2-2. I hate the 2-2 with the Reds.
I mean, if you're going to have interleague play, if we get back to it next year, do it the right way. First of all, you want a weekend. I would think if you're a Cleveland fan, you'd want to go down to Cincinnati on a weekend and watch the teams play. Yeah. You're not going to go there on a Wednesday night.
No, God no. And this is what hurts about this. And I get there's a pandemic, but. You have the Cubs, and you have the Cubs for 2, and then what looks like about a month later, 3 weeks later, you have the Cubs for 2 at the Cubs, and I go, man, no matter what they do, they just do not want people to be interested in Indians Cubs, one of the greatest World Series of all times. They put it in April a couple years ago, and now it's a 4-game series, but split with 2 a month apart.
All right, we're going to bring in Mike Masetta from Nature Stone. Mike, Ken Carman with us tonight. Mike, I have an idea for the name change of the Indians. Ready for this?
Go ahead.
All right. How about the Wow, It's Nature Stone Indians?
I love it. They've got it at Progressive Field, so they should name it after us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, Mike, we have Mike in here once a week, and I'm astounded at how quickly in 1 week, how quickly things change, not just the pandemic here and all that stuff, but everything in Cleveland sports changes so quick. And here's one that as of Friday, we didn't know anything about it. All of a sudden, Paul Dolan, although Paul kind of moved out of the way here and said his minions will take care of it in discussing the team and the history. Mike, what do you think about it?
Well, for me, I'm a traditionalist. I guess the Indians name has been around for a long time. I don't quite understand the whole dynamic, but then again, I'm not Native American, so I guess if I was, it could offend me. So whatever is best for society is what I'm for. And so, if they want to change the name, I have no issue with that. If they choose not to, I really have no issue with that, quite frankly.
Well, Ken and Mike, I mentioned that they're talking about researching the history. There's no city related to its sports franchises that has done a better job with minorities, with diversity and all that. I mean, if you want to start with Larry Doby, you want to go with Frank Robinson, Marion Motley, not just the players, but the decision to go with the guys for the first time, which probably was a tough choice to make under the circumstances. But now you go Lenny Wilkins and Wayne Embry and you name it. Cleveland's at the forefront of all of it, whether it's head coaches, whether it's Romeo Crennel or Hugh Jackson. You might not like the results, but you certainly have to look at Cleveland and say, well, there's no problem there as far as hiring diversity people.
No, I agree. They hire the best guy for the job, Les, and it doesn't matter what the person looks like. If they're the best person for the job, then that's who you hire. And they've seemed to have said, scoffed at traditional wisdom and just said, hey, look it, we're gonna find the best person for the job, and that's who we're gonna hire. And all the sports franchises in Cleveland have been like that, quite frankly. Yeah. And they have been pioneers in that regard.
Can I just wonder, you talk about the hiring practices of the Cleveland teams, and then you got the Rooney Rule, and there's talk that they want to help along the hiring when what that's doing is kind of hurting the Browns or the Indians or the Cavaliers, who have been certainly at the forefront of this issue. And now, because timing is involved, they may lose out to people who haven't been as good in their hiring practices.
Well, yeah, but I also think that it depending on, again, best man for the job of what Mike just said, there's a lot of things where we've had problems just like any other city when it comes to these type of things. But with the franchises that we've had, it's been, to me, a very proud thing that I can look back in their history, and we've mentioned some of the names that all three of the organizations here in Cleveland have been at the forefront of this type of thing, have been at the forefront of opportunity, and have been at the forefront of bringing people in, not just for the color of their skin, but for their mind. I think that's a big thing. As far as the Indians, I think that this kind of goes in from what we were just talking about, where we've been at the forefront of this before, and people have mentioned, well, the Braves aren't changing, the Chiefs aren't changing. We haven't heard anything about the Black Sox or the Blackhawks. We haven't heard anything about the Seminoles or anything like that. Okay, that's all right, but I ultimately think we know that while I do like a good tradition as much as anybody else, and I grew up an Indians fan, 34 years, my entire life. I'm not going to stop going to Cleveland baseball games based on the nickname. I'm going to take my sons, and my sons will be Cleveland Guardians or Cleveland Spiders or Cleveland Barons or Cleveland Rays fans, just like their sons will be and their sons will be.
Well, Mike's son is a little bit older than you. How has he said anything, Mike, to you about why they're going to change or might not change? Has that become a dinner time issue?
The subject with us has not come up, Les. Quite frankly, I'm actually driving with him now. He's got a baseball game out in North Ridgeville. But, yeah, the subject with us has not come up yet because it's just not something that interests him one way or the other, quite frankly. So, I think that, if it were to change, he'd probably say, okay, I'm gonna root for this team now because they're my Cleveland franchise, and it wouldn't mean as much to him as it might to somebody who's in their 60s or 70s and has enjoyed that long-standing tradition.
Not only that, though, in your case, the kids today are rooting not necessarily for teams; they're rooting for players. I don't know if that's true in baseball, but it certainly is in basketball and football.
Yeah. So you're saying the players become extremely important today. Back when I was younger, you rooted for your team and then you hope that they got some good players on it. Nowadays you root for the player and you kind of follow him where he goes, and if it happens to be on your home team, then that's a great thing because now your fans will be more likely to root for that team. But yeah, it's fan bases or younger fan bases, they root for that player. I think there's a couple of younger guys in the media there that you have on periodically that as soon as LeBron James went from Cleveland to LA, they became Los Angeles Lakers fans, or they may have liked the Lakers beforehand, but now the Lakers are their favorite team because LeBron's there, and that's fine, but it's not how I was raised. I mean, I'm a Cleveland traditionalist through and through. I like my Cleveland teams. It's where I live. I'm proud of my city, and I think that when the Cleveland teams do well, it benefits everybody here. It benefits businesses and everybody else. Just the general happiness and the feel in the community to have a team that's successful.
All right, Mike, we've got to move along. Ken Carman is with us as always. Thank you, and we will talk to you soon.
Hey, you got it, guys.
No, you got to give the sign off.
Wow, it's Nature Stone.
There you go. Sounds familiar. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll come on back in a moment. Ken Carman is with us. Northeast Factory Direct, 3 great locations, plus the website that you got to see before you go out. East, west, and south is the place to go. Are the places to go. And NortheastFactoryDirect.com. Sokolowski's University Inn. Keep checking out their website. See what their plans are for you. The only winner of the James Beard Foundation Award from the city of Cleveland. Almost 95 years in business. Mike and Bernie Sokolowski's University Inn. Ken Carman and I return in a moment. More sports and less Levine exclusively on cleveland.com.
Your home is your most important investment, and your basement is the go-to part of your home. It's your children's rec room. It's where your family and friends spend time together. It's much more than just a basement. Now is the perfect time to add beauty and value to your home with an authentic Nature Stone basement floor. And every Nature Stone floor comes with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty. For a limited time, get our exclusive mini pearl stone for as low as $2.99 a square foot plus installation. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a line. A long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just a mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Ken Carman with us from 92.3 The Fan, along with Anthony Lima, 6 to 10 Monday through Friday on 92.3 The Fan. You've been talking, Ken, about the offense and some of the expectations, and of course, big expectations for Nick Chubb for 2020. LaDainian Tomlinson from the NFL Network said the guy is in the perfect offense. Kevin Stefanski's offense is going to be 2 tight ends, going to be run heavy, play action. We'll come off that. That's the perfect offense for Nick Chubb. He's going to get the opportunity. I'll go even further. Nick Chubb will lead the league in rushing this year. How about that?
If he does, I think he should sit going into next year and demand another contract. The guy's got to get paid. I love Nick Chubb. I know that he might not do it, but I love Nick Chubb. I think he ought to demand to get paid. That's not going to make me many friends, I understand, but I love the guy. I think he deserves it.
All right, what does that mean as far as your two-back offense?
Oh, in terms of Kareem Hunt?
Yeah.
Oh, Kareem Hunt will just go. The only way you hold on, the problem is the only way you hold on to Kareem Hunt is if Kareem Hunt messes up again, right?
Yep.
Like he's a very talented running back in his own right. Let's make no mistake about that. But the only reason you have him is because he's really messed up in his life and his career. So if he rectifies that and it shows any talent whatsoever, then he'll probably go to a place that can pay him a little bit more. I don't know how much more because I think Nick Chubb is going to be the guy who gets the bulk of the carries and the bulk of the opportunities. But Kareem could find himself in a very nice system somewhere else. So I don't. It's not where I don't root for the guy. I think that people can come back and have second chances. I think he's young and he can have a second chance. But I just don't know how much of an opportunity is there because I just trust Nick Chubb implicitly. I think that he and Miles are my favorite guys, and but Nick would probably be my most favorite because I can trust Nick more than anybody else I can on that football team to give me a professional effort both on and off the field. Okay,
assuming that the stuff off the field is taken care of as far as the scientists and doctors and they let them play. Do you expect it's going to be an offense that has to score a lot of points because the defense is going to give up a whole bunch, or do you think that the defense and the offense will catch up somewhere?
No, I do. I agree with you. I think that was part of the problem with this last year. And stop me if I've done this with you already, Les. I see Baltimore. Baltimore's a defense. If you look at their draft picks, they're 5 years in works. Pittsburgh has been 6 years. They've worked on that defense for 6 years, making draft picks, acquiring guys, and trying to make that thing work. Defense takes a long time. You know, with offense, Kansas City took Patrick Mahomes, everything was fixed. But with the defense, there's so many things that need to be worked on. And the Browns were so bad defensively that it's going to take this year, next year, and the year after that, and you have to hit on those picks. That means Denzel has to be good. That means Greedy has to be good. That means that the guys that you got have to be good. I mean, there's so many things that have to come here. Grant Delpit has to be good for this defense. There's so many things that have to work out for this defense to be what it's supposed to be. It's just not going to be this year. It's going to be in, hopefully, 2021. And in 2022 is when you really hope that it comes to fruition, led by Myles Garrett, but with everybody else as well.
One more segment to go. If you want to get in with Ken Carman, you can do that right now. You can also get us on the voicemail of Truth and Reason. We, of course, do the show live from 6 until 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and you can call us during that time. You can also call us at any other time of the day or night at 216-200-6650, 216-200-6650. Tomorrow night, Bud Shaw joins us, the D-Man Dennis Maniloff on Wednesday. Thursday, it'll be Mary Kay Cabot. We'll take a break and come on back one more time. More sports and Les Levine continues with Ken Carman exclusively on cleveland.com.
Your home is your most important investment, and your garage is the entrance to your home. It's where your kids come in from school. It's where your family and friends gather together. It's much more than just a garage. Now is the perfect time to add beauty and value to your home with an authentic NatureStone garage floor. And every NatureStone floor comes with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty. For a limited time, get our exclusive gray brown blend stone for as low as $2.99 a square foot plus installation. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's NatureStone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Bud Shaw will be here. That'll be tomorrow night. Dennis Maniloff on Wednesday. Mary Kay Cabot will be here on Thursday. Ken Carman is with us now. The Indians will open up against Kansas City. That'll be on the 24th of July. Do we know if the White Sox come to town? Do we know if those are day games or night games? Anybody know?
I have no idea. I wish I knew better.
Okay, that's all right. I'm sure we'll find out about it. Ken, what has to happen, assuming, I mean, you can't assume health here because you don't know what the virus is going to do, but let's play pretend here that everything is okay to get into the season. What has to happen for the Indians to make them be a contender, and what happens from here on out?
Starting hot. I think it actually is advantageous to them. Well, Minnesota's a different animal, so don't let me throw Minnesota in there. But notoriously, we have not been the best starters in the world. Usually about 500 is what I want through the month of April, and maybe the same through May. It's usually a little bit cold out there. It's going to be very hot.
Hold on. Can't go April and May. You got to go July and August.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's usually very cold. It's cool outside, or there's going to be some cold nights.
Got it.
Now it's going to be very hot. Hopefully, we start off a little bit better.
Any particular player that, I mean, other than the obvious Lindor, is there any particular player that's got to play 20% above what the numbers show, whether it's a pitcher or a regular player?
Has to be Mike Clevenger, right?
I
think he's taken over as the leader in the pitching staff. Well, you know what? Carlos Carrasco has been a story of inspiration for a lot of people, so maybe I take that back. But Clevenger has to be in that mix somewhere. Yeah.
Could you imagine the pitching mound at Carrasco's house in Florida? The neighbors come and help catch the ball. I don't know.
Can I throw out a how come quickie real quick?
Absolutely.
If they struggle so much in the months of March and April, why don't we have spring training up in Cleveland?
Get them ready for the cold.
Care. Just play their squad scrimmages. It doesn't matter because they got to get used to the weather at some point. They go down to Arizona. It's 90 degrees most times. What the hell? What are you doing?
They can come up here. They can get themselves places to live and settle in. I agree totally.
Thank you.
It's like, although spring training mostly is in winter, but that's another story for. I made it through the whole show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Listen, I love Dave. No offense to Dave, but I love my Les, and I wanted to host with my Les. I was very upset about this.
You're stuck with me. You got me. Hey, Kenny, thanks so much. Continued success at 92.3 The Fan.
Thank you, buddy.
All right, there you go. Ken Carman. You hear him along with Anthony Lima, 92.3 The Fan. All right, that'll do it for us. We'll see you tomorrow night. We've got Bud Shaw tomorrow. We've got Dennis Maniloff on on Wednesday, and of course Mary Kay Cabot on Thursday. That'll do it. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.